Hello, welcome to another episode of the Chrissie Mayr podcast. We are on iTunes, YouTube, Spotify, and SoundCloud. And if you're listening to us on iTunes right now, go ahead and leave a 5-star review on iTunes. Or is it 4 stars? I think it's 5. Leave the most amount of stars. You're worth it. I'm worth it. Quick shout out to a couple of our sponsors for today's episode. Standalone is a new Substack by Melissa McCutcheon, an artist and former professor who quit due to the corruption of academia. Oh, this is so neat. Like she's like on the inside of it. She publishes about once a week on topics designed to offer some hope and insight into the bizarre groupthink world that we're currently living in. You can subscribe at standalone.substack.com. It's free, and there usually are a lot of really valuable bits of advice regarding individual empowerment, ways to stay true to your principles in the face of adversity. In fact, she just published a piece about the wave of resignations we're seeing in response to the vaccine mandates for companies for 100 or more employees, and she weaves in the story of her decision to leave academia. So go ahead and read and subscribe to standalone.substack.com. And another quick shout out to our other sponsor, Drom. We all know dating apps are horrible. If you're watching this, it's the beginning of November. It's about to be cuffing seasons, guys. You gotta find your person quickly before the winter comes. Find somebody with a generator. Find somebody with a lot of blankets. We know the dating apps are terrible, but Drom is a new free, keyword free, values-based dating app. You pick your deal breakers and deal makers. Why is this important? Because if you're a conservative, things are probably not going to work out with someone who's a total lefty. Same thing with religion, lifestyle, how to reach your kids, and other core values. Sure, somebody could change, but why not just meet the perfect match right out the gate? Drom is also video only for more human interaction. So go to Drom.Date/CMP in your phone's browser. Click the iOS or Google button to install and use the invite code CMP to sign up. And if you're already matched up, tell your friends and tell your partner to tell theirs. That's Drom.Date/CMP. Designed to meet your perfect match. It's free to use. You got nothing to lose. Guys, tell me I've already successfully introduced 2 sets of people who are now married. So I think I'm a trustworthy source here. Shout out to a couple of stand-up dates. I'm going to be performing at the Dojo of Comedy, Tiff's Ale House in Morris Plains this Saturday, November 6th. For tickets, go to ChrissieMayr.com, or you can go to their website as well. And we just put this together. I'm going back to Dallas with my buddy Aaron Berg from Compound Media. We're doing 2 nights of shows at Hyenas in Dallas, December 15th and 16th. We just put this together, so you can't get tickets yet, but I will post as soon as they are available. Okay, guys, I'm real excited to have this guy on the podcast today. He is the host of Drew Hernandez Live. He's an investigative reporter. I probably should have done that one at the end because now I've given away his name already. He's the correspondent for Real America's Voice. Drew Hernandez, how are you?
Chrissy, doing well. Huge fan. Thank you for having me on. This is going to be pretty legendary, so I'm excited to see how this goes.
You're also a member of the Latinx community, so I'm excited to have a little more diversity.
Yeah, we have to prove that you're not a racist, so you have to bring blacks and Hispanics, and you have to have more color on your show. So that's why we're doing
Dude,
this.
for real. Like me and Frank sat down. By me and Frank, I mean Frank sat down and counted. He made a chart of like my demographics of my guests, and you're not incorrect there. It's a lot of white, but many different shades of white: cream, beige, eggshell. A lot of different white guests. But you know what? Like I don't know. Everyone knows I'm not racist, but here we that's not the point, guys. The point is that the New York Post is shitting on Kyle Rittenhouse for yawning during his trial. I was watching a little bit of it today. I know it's very boring to watch these trials. I was watching a little bit of it today, and I did catch him yawning twice in the short amount of time that I was watching it, and I go, somebody is going to stick it to him for these yawns. Drew, did you catch any of this trial today?
Yeah, I was there when this all happened, so I'm pretty sure this show is going to get clipped up with things that I'm saying right now. But I
You
was
were
there.
there? Whoa.
Yeah, I was actually night 1 when Jacob Blake was shot I was in Chicago and I immediately saw on Twitter that there was going to be a riot because people were mobilizing. They were attacking police officers in Kenosha. So I took it was like a $300 Uber from downtown Chicago all the way to Kenosha. It changed my life though. It literally was the birth of my professional career.
You took a $300 Uber from where to where?
From Chicago all the way up to Kenosha.
And Kenosha is in Wisconsin?
Yeah, it's like a 2.5 almost. Yeah, it's pretty long. But so when I showed up, the kids, the rioters, they were chanting BLM. They were already burning down dumpster trucks. They looted the entire little area of the town. They were breaking windows, breaking into libraries. All this footage went viral on my Twitter. So anyone could fact check me. It was on Tucker Carlson. It was all over the place last year. Yeah. So I just have to say that because immediately people are going to come in and be like, oh, he's lying. It was a peaceful protest. And it's just like, no, it wasn't. Like night one, I was there in Kenosha. I was literally one of the only journalists there on the first night it was like worldwide news. It changed my life.
What night was the first night? Do you remember?
Oh, was it August 24th?
Okay.
So I might have the dates wrong. Yeah. It was right there. But then a couple nights after, that's when Kyle came down. Right. And the reason why Kyle and the other dudes came down with the rifles was because the police were not doing what they should have been doing. And the National Guard was called out, and the citizens in the region in Kenosha were really scared. It literally felt like there was a hurricane or there was a tornado about to come and run through the entire town. People were boarding up their windows. They were writing on the boards, like special ed kids live here, or there are children that live here. Like people were in fear for their lives because Antifa, Black Lives Matter came from outer states and came down to Kenosha to riot. Okay. And part of the context that I want people to understand when you're watching this trial is I'm not giving you my opinion here. I'm telling you how it happened because I was there. Okay. And you're hearing the prosecution say, this was a peaceful protest. And people came because they were protesting the injustice of a black man, Jacob Blake, being shot. That's BS. That is 100% BS. On the first night, they rioted. On the second, all the way until Kyle was there and shot actually, he was a pedophile, the first dude he shot.
That's what I'm hearing. He had like many accounts of touching like young boys, like it was really disgusting stuff. Yeah.
It was not a protest. They were committing arson, vandalism. They were looting. They burnt down multiple buildings, multiple car dealerships. All that footage is on my Twitter too. Like literally cars were exploding. It wasn't. So I just want your viewers to know when you're watching this Rittenhouse thing, it was not a protest because that's what the media is trying to say. Oh, this white boy came down to Kenosha to shoot a bunch of protesters that were protesting police brutality. That's not true. The town was being attacked. It was literally being attacked, and they were burning down buildings, and the police weren't. They were just kind of like allowing it. It's very bizarre, and that's why these people showed up. So yeah, you're taking a look at my Twitter. These are some of the clips.
Do you think this footage is worth highlighting here? Because this looks kind of new.
No, go down. That's Jack. That's recent FBI footage that was put out. But if we go a little further down, I want to highlight a couple of things. Well, hold on. Let me see this one. Go a little further down. Further down. This one. I don't know if you could play the audio.
Oh yeah.
So
this is
the first guy. Yeah, that's Rosenbaum, and he was asking to be shot.
Yeah, not usually the most witted people are yelling that out.
He was literally asking to be shot, and this guy was violent that night. And to give even more context to this, go a little further down. Your viewers are going to love this, Chrissy. I promise. Like, go a little.
This is so perfect that you're here. I didn't know that you were like in all
there.
this.
This is all my footage. This isn't reposted. Go a little further down. This one. Okay, so play this. This is what started this off.
Dumpster on fire here.
So there's Rosenbaum. See the dude pushing it in the front?
Okay, so this is him. Yeah, red shirt.
That's the pedophile that Kyle shot. So let it play a little longer. Now look to the top left of the screen. See all the squad cars?
Yeah.
Okay, so what these guys were doing, Chrissy, is they were trying to, obviously, they lit a dumpster on fire.
Yeah, and they're pushing it towards this gas station, this ultimate station.
Either the gas station or police squad cars with them on automobiles with gasoline inside of them, with human beings occupying the cars. So, I mean, I'm not a lawyer, but I could pretty much tell you that this is maybe an attempt of murder. I don't know, you know, but it looks like that to me. And so, do you see how this kid put it out with a fire extinguisher?
Yeah, pretty clutch. Like
right? On point. So pull out of this and then go to the tweet. The one right before this tweet. Go up, scroll up. This one. So it led to this violent altercation where they were getting crazy. There's Rosenbaum again. Leading a pack of lemons.
Rosenbaum, not a tall guy. Probably why it's attributing to his anger. I'm not an expert, but
look at him. Like literally.
Oof. We've all seen these people. They show up, their energy is bad, their energy is intense. This is somebody who like wants to fight someone somewhere.
He wanted to fight, dude. And even the rioters around him were trying to hold him back.
So what is even happening? He just really wants to get hit or hit someone. He
wants to fight. He wants, and that's why he goes on to say, "Shoot me, dude. Shoot me."
What was that thing that just went flying?
Someone threw it.
Oh, someone threw it.
Yeah. Look at. Okay.
This reminds me of the Bagel Boss. I don't know if you followed his story years ago.
So look at now. I'm going to give you guys a timeline here. You're going to appreciate.
Oh my God, this is like you're like an expert,
right? Okay, so pause this and then go up to the next tweet. This is a sequence of what happened. So after their altercation at the gas station, go up again. Go a little further up. So this one. So open it and then pause it. Okay, restart it, pause it, but restart it. So after their altercation at the gas station, right? So this is a sequence of events that people need to understand. Pause it real quick, Chrissy. So when they were trying, they lit a dumpster on fire. Okay, guys, they lit a dumpster on fire. They were either going to push it into a gas station or they were going to push it into police squad automobiles filled with gas occupied by human beings. And Rosenbaum was at the forefront trying to do that. And then someone put out the fire. He got triggered and then led a charge into the gas station to try and fight everyone with guns. Okay. So after he couldn't get a fight at the gas station, they all went up the street and they started chanting that they were going to go to Car Source. That's a car dealership. This would have been the third car dealership they torched to the ground. And they were saying, burn it down, burn it down. And this is when they go en route to the famous car dealership where Rittenhouse shoots Rosenbaum because he charged him from behind and they were going to attack him. So here you guys go.
And why did they choose these locations? Like just a gas station just for like the damage potential?
They chose the courthouse was right down the street. So Jacob Blake was maybe shot maybe about like a 8-minute drive away from the courthouse in Kenosha. And so they decided to go to the courthouse to riot there and then just tear up that whole little town. So like it had nothing to do. It wasn't even where Jacob Blake was shot. They just wanted to make a statement because in 2020, where was Antifa rioting for over 150 plus days in Portland? At the courthouse, the federal courthouse. Right. So it was just like their thing, right? It's a playbook that they follow. But so everywhere in Kenosha around the courthouse, all down the street, they went from the courthouse to burning down car dealerships, burning down buildings, innocent people. Like it had nothing to do with Jacob Blake or the shooting, but they're psycho.
Yeah, it's people like this guy, Rosenbaum, who just they want to fight. And here's a perfect excuse.
Yeah.
But yeah, this doesn't really look like any kind of a protest to me, which is how like the CNNs will try to frame it like, oh, Rittenhouse came here to shoot at protesters.
Not at all. So here, pause it right here. Wait, go back a couple frames. Okay, maybe one more. It's kind of play it and then play it and then push pause.
Okay,
a little further. Right there. Okay, so behind this sign, you can't really see it, but Rosenbaum is right behind that sign, and Kyle Rittenhouse is right next to him.
Here.
So then he's gonna charge him, right? Rosenbaum, the pedophile, is gonna charge Kyle, and Kyle's going to run into the car dealership and be attacked by all these people. And the FBI released footage today that corroborates what I'm telling you guys. There was a drone out that night that we had no idea was there, but it shows that Kyle was trying to provide medical attention, and then they attacked him, chased him into the car dealership, and he did what he did. So watch, push play.
Yeah, I'm gonna play this yet because I didn't know that they could have just random drone footage. Like
Yeah.
I guess I just forget that drones exist.
See, they chase him.
Yep.
There's the dealership. Here are the shots.
And then this leads into the thing that everyone's seen.
Yeah. Boom, boom. Rosenbaum gets shot. All right. Yeah, this is me running to the gunfire. I don't.
This is you. This is your footage. You're actually shooting all this, and probably most people have seen. So this is your actual footage.
Yeah, this has been seen millions of times. Yeah, millions.
Wow.
Of times. So there's Kyle.
Damn.
That's Richie McGinnis. He's a Daily Caller reporter, trying to provide aid to Rosenbaum because he just got shot. Kyle's calling someone, telling him that he just shot somebody. This is very graphic. I don't know if you want to play it on your YouTube, but you can pause it here if you want. But it's literally him dying.
Yeah. I don't have a lot of.
Yeah. So it's up to you. But anyways, he died. And then so it's pretty graphic. But
we've all seen this, guys. Yeah, very sad. Like, definitely did not have to happen. Definitely this guy.
Yeah. This guy, and I just want people to know.
He did not act as if someone who, you know what I mean? He wasn't trying to keep himself safe and out of harm's way all night.
That's the context to what led to this dude getting shot. And, whatever people are hearing, because we started this show with the biggest story in the United States right now with Rittenhouse. When you guys are listening to this, I'm not giving you my opinion. I was there. This is what I saw. And I have like tons of video to back it up. So it's like, it was not a peaceful protest. It was not.
But you look at, you'll look at like how CNN or how NBC, they're all the same, how they'll cover it. I wanted to bring this up because this is how CNN is framing this right now.
Mm-hmm.
The trial has begun. These are the 3 men he shot. And it really focuses on, this big section on Rosenbaum. They write more about each victim than they do, I think, about Kyle. And this big section about Anthony Huber. Oh, he did this, he did that. Such a great guy. He was so smart. And this section about Gage, who was the guy he wasn't killed, but he got shot in the bicep and lost, a section of his
because one
arm.
of them was actually pointing a firearm at Kyle. So after Kyle shot this first guy, I'm telling you, it was like Lord of the Flies. These environments are very, very bizarre. They're unpredictable. And that night, I remember that night after Kyle shot that first dude, it was like this switch was just like flipped on. And all the rioters they went from being these violent arsonists to just like, it just went beyond. Like there was just nothing holding them back anymore. They
wanted blood.
They wanted blood. Yeah. This is my opinion. I personally believe after Kyle shot the first guy that they were going to probably execute Kyle publicly in Kenosha because of what he did. And that's why they were chasing him down the street. Kyle was running back down the street to turn himself into the police officers because of what he did. And people were chasing him. I'm telling you, it was very scary because it just, this mentality, they took Rosenbaum's body, they were going to put him in back of a car, like an ambulance or something. And then immediately they're like, where is he? Where is he? Where's that kid? Where's that mother effer? Where's that white supremacist? Like immediately. And then just, they were hunting him. Like they felt totally justified. I believe if they would have got a hold of him and if Kyle didn't have a gun, they would have probably executed him publicly, took matters into their own hands.
Whoa.
That's what
there's some footage that I think most of us have seen. It's like Kyle's on his back, and then that's when someone came up and tried to hit him with a skateboard. Did that happen before or after this altercation, at the gas station?
That was after.
So that makes sense. So that happened. He was, the guy got shot, and then they were out for blood.
Yes.
And then that explains why there was multiple, at least 3 people coming at him. The one with the skateboard, the one guy that was holding a gun. And, I've read a lot of opinions, people who are, they have guns, they go shooting a lot, and I've heard a lot of comments like he showed immense restraint, Kyle, and you could tell that his skills were up, were up. He wasn't just like like a madman. Like he truly only shot when he had to. It looks like.
Here's what I'll say. I'll say this: if Kyle didn't shoot anybody, I wonder what would have happened. And this is my opinion. Is my opinion. Being there, seeing the people, being around the environment, and we're talking about like 2 or 3 days prior of violent rioting. Okay, so we've already seen what these people are willing to do. Okay, I wonder if they would have publicly executed Kyle in the middle of the street, if the radical left would praise it and come out and say, "Oh, he deserved it. He should that should have happened to him." You see what I'm saying?
Probably,
like,
because look at him. He's a young white guy
Mhm.
carrying an AR, which immediately scares the left. Like they don't know anything about guns. They don't know how they work. They can't tell the difference between them, but they see a gun that they think looks scary and they go up. They completely label them. Oh, you're a white supremacist. You Trump supporter, right? If you wear cargo shorts, if you have an American flag, like these things that didn't used to be so divisive years ago are now all
Dude,
hallmarks of white supremacy,
dude,
apparently.
you want to know why you're right? You want to know why you're right? Because when they were in the jury selection process, there was a woman, right? They were asking I think it was either the prosecutors or the defense. They came out and they said, "Do any of you have a problem with the image of an AR-15 or a
Mhm.
rifle, right? Because that was used in this case. Do any of you have any issue with simply seeing it? Do you have a negative view of that? And will that cause you to be a little biased because you don't like a rifle?" And one of the ladies came out and said yes. Okay. And listen, and then the prosecutor and the judge was like, "Okay, we'll explain why." She said, "I don't believe that the public should have access to machine guns. This is how ignorant people
Oh,
are."
no.
Okay. It's not a machine gun. Okay. Like,
Well, I've seen movies, so
right.
yeah.
And so the judge had to explain to her between an automatic and a semi-automatic rifle. And it's just, and they asked her, they're like, "Well, would you issue a guilty verdict because you simply don't like, you have this opinion?" And she said yes. So they got rid of her.
At
But
least
you're
she was
right.
honest. A lot of people feel that way.
Right. Right. And but
Yeah.
to go to your point, you're right. It's just that so many people are ignorant to firearms that they form opinions on them without even truly understanding what they are, which is kind of like dangerous. I mean, if you view the world that way, you could be forming opinions without actually knowing what something is not a very healthy way to live mentally. I'll tell you that right now.
These 3 guys that Kyle, shot, I mean, they're all white, so it's like, are we really still trying to make this case for white supremacy here? It's like, it's horrible that anyone was hurt, but, like, you wonder how much worse it would have been had they not all been, like, white, white guys.
Yeah, they were black dudes, it would be a totally different story. I'll tell you that right now. But what the media goes with is they go with the whole white ally narrative, right? Oh, it was a protest for Black Lives Matter, so there are white allies out there, and so Kyle's a white supremacist because he shot somebody that wanted to support black people.
You can't say, "Oh, well, Kyle was like a child safety ally, so he was gonna,
Right?
he wants to protect kids from predators." Damn, though. Um, so that I think that explains like why he's such a media target. Like
Yep.
he's like I think he is exactly what the powers that be don't want young men to to be poised to grow up into. Like he's controlled, he knows how to like use a gun, he knows how to protect himself. He was running around asking if people needed medical. He
Mhm.
was out there to protect a business. So he's all these things that I think they don't want young men to be, and they want to demonize him and set an example and scare other young men to not you know, make those kind of moves. Like, yeah, don't. Just don't stand up for yourself or others or your community, and don't try to, protect yourself in self-defense.
Exactly. And I think that's I'll tell people from someone that was there, okay, multiple nights of rioting in Kenosha. These people tore up buildings, looted, burnt down car dealerships. People were fearing for their lives in Kenosha. How do I know that? Because I saw that. And then even the day after, I went and talked to the people that had their businesses burnt to the ground. And this is what they were expressing. Okay. And a lot of what people were saying in Kenosha, they were not, they couldn't understand why the police weren't responding. I mean, the police were going back and forth with the rioters, but the rioters would just move to another block. They would move to another block. The police would shut down one block. And then the rioters would move to another one and burn down this place or vandalize this place. And that's why these dudes with rifles showed up, because the police were not doing their jobs. And even the National Guard apparently was called out, and it led to this. So I think there is some questions that need to be answered about why law enforcement took such a limp-wristed approach to what happened in Kenosha.
Right. It's either the cops are so afraid of having to reprimand a person of color, they're so afraid of potential bad optics, or they're truly lazy and don't care, or God, like what else could it possibly have been? Like they just are afraid for their own lives, which in that case, like better get out of law enforcement, I guess. It makes sense. Like if people are watching other businesses burn to the ground, and it sucks because you look at him, he's so young still. What were I don't know, he should have had some other adults with him, like to help, I don't know, protect him or protect the store. Like I feel bad. Like he felt like he had to do this all kind of himself. As mature and as good as he was, I wish that he had had more support.
Yeah, I mean, it was totally the wild, wild west out there. It was, that's why so many locals and residents were afraid, because it was literally the wild, wild west. Like, why was it allowed for these people to riot, not just one night, multiple nights? Okay, that's completely unacceptable. And that's what we were seeing in 2020. So, it's just, you got to ask yourself, if we can't always rely on the government to protect us, right? That's why we have the Second Amendment, right? Well, some scholars would disagree with that, but predominantly the dominant thought is we have the 2A to defend ourselves, especially from a tyrannical government. Yeah, right. So it's like, what are you supposed to do? What are you supposed to do when law and order is not there, when you have literal, in my opinion, domestic terrorists? Because when you are using violence to accomplish a political goal, that's literally terrorism. Okay. And that's what BLM did. That's what Antifa does. And that's what was happening in Kenosha. So what are you supposed to do? Who do you turn to? You have to be able to defend yourself. And I just think a lot of people are asking themselves these questions, and it's like, so when you do, you get labeled, you're the one that gets labeled a terrorist. You're the one that gets your guns taken away. You're the one that gets slandered by the media. And this is what's happening to America, where these values that we once had are now being turned against us. And when we uphold them or we love them, we actually get painted as terrorists or a threat to the United States of America. It blows my mind, Chrissy, that people don't see this happening. I don't care if you're a Republican or a Democrat. Like, we're talking about like constitutional values that we all get to share in, whether you're black, white, Republican, Democrat. People need to wake up to the reality that your constitutional freedoms are being subverted, and it's not a good thing, like at all.
Yeah, but there's just like the media fog and all the distractions and consumerism, like it all adds up to be like one big distraction. And like it wouldn't have taken that much, especially if there were cops in that car that we saw in the clip earlier. They come out, they're wearing uniforms. Like a lot of these people are pussies, just sort of like running around looking for a fight. A lot of them would have been like, oh, okay, the cops are really here. Like, okay. And they would have probably cut it out, and all they had to do would be like, hey, like quit throwing around literally dumpster fires into a gas station. Like they could have cut down on some of that chaos, but instead they're just sitting there.
And just to go to their credit, like those nights, it was just like this back and forth. The police, they would form a line, they would push the rioters back down the block, the tear gas, and the rioters were throwing rocks and throwing fireworks, explosive devices, and all this stuff. They were going back and forth, pushing the rioters down the street, hoping they would just disperse at some point. And you gotta ask yourself, is like, if you call an unlawful assembly because these people are burning down buildings for multiple nights, arrest every single one of them. Like, immediately, no questions asked, right? Like, and that was not taking place. Maybe
right, you're out there, you're part of it.
Yeah, maybe one or here, two are there, but it just, these people were allowed to just like run the streets, and it's like, you wonder why there are people showing up with rifles to defend a little town that had nothing to do with Jacob Blake being shot, that was being destroyed and burnt down. That's what
people go, oh, there's chaos. Oh, we can get away with like damaging and destroying stuff. Like that attracts a certain kind of like unhinged person. And then you have like New York Post being like, oh, well, he was yawning during the trial. And it's like, you know what? Like I remember every first day of every job I've ever had, I've always like been yawning, and I yawn when I get anxious. So I'm like, oh, this is like, bro, he's probably not sleeping. He's probably anxious as hell. And like, that's why some people yawn. And I was like, that's totally what's happening with this poor kid.
Yeah, I don't know. This is just, I don't know what's going on with the New York Post. I don't know if this was supposed to be like, they're trying to be funny, like, oh, Kyle's just yawning, he doesn't really, I don't know. This is some serious stuff, you know, and this kid's life is on the line, and there's a lot of truth that was covered, which the FBI released a drone footage today that actually proved that Kyle was seeking to provide medical attention, and they chased him, and that's what led to a shooting. So, I mean, that's all I could say, but it's just, Chrissy, law and order is being subverted. And, you know, people need to realize that the ones that get hurt in the end are going to be innocent people. It's going to be you. It's going to be me. It's going to be ones that have to live with it. The elites are going to be okay, right? The multi-billionaires,
they can hire
they're going to be
private
okay.
security.
Right. This is why Cori Bush wants to defund the police, but she literally spends hundreds of thousands of dollars on private security detail. It's like, you know what I mean? It's like, these people don't care about you.
Yeah, like you were saying when you were in Chaz in Portland covering all that, like there would be an emergency, but they would still call 911. They would still try to get paramedics in. Like they would be like, oh yeah, we still need to use this system that we are supposedly, you know, raging against here. It's, you know what it is? It's like everybody needs discipline in their life, no matter like what age, and like groups of people need discipline. And it's like you're just trading one system of rules for another, but it's like the one that it's like we're all kind of looking for like to know our boundaries, to know our place. And like the people at this, you know, throwing dumpster fires around, it's like they need a cop or somebody to say no, like get the fuck, go back home. But instead it's like the cops are receding. They're like, oh, I don't want to lose my job over shooting the wrong looking kind of person. But then who becomes daddy then? The government. And then it becomes more authoritarian. It's like, keep the daddies at a lower level, you know, like keep the daddies local, keep families strong. But nobody wants that. Nobody wants responsibility. No one wants to take care of their own. So now it's like, and that's kind of what a big government wants. They go, oh yeah, everything's chaos and gone to shit. Like, let's step in and throw down more laws. Young Pei Chang, thanks for the super chat. What's up, buddy? From Chicago Box. Not even a year into Biden's regime or regimen. Am I saying it wrong? Probably. Not even a year into Biden's regime, and the country is in terrible shape. Outlook is grim, and I don't know how we make it 3 more years. Let's go, Brandon. Yeah, I think they are loving this.
Oh, they love it. Things are going according to plan for them. I'll tell you that right now. That's why when Kamala Harris goes down to, where was she? I think it was Del Rio, or she tried to make it look like she was going down to the border, and she's like, oh, things are going well. Things are going according to plan. And people are like, what the hell do you mean? This is horrible. But from their perspective, it's going according to plan. Like they want to destabilize the United States. They want a 2-tier system. That's very clear. And they want a controllable class. They don't want people in this country, whether Republican or Democrat, that even know what a constitution is. They don't want people protesting. They just want people that are controllable. And to go to Chicago Box's point, that's exactly where they're going. The Biden regime wants to take us down this path, and they're successfully doing it.
Yeah. And you'll hear, oh, the Constitution is crusty. It was written so long ago. Everything's changed. It needs to be updated. It's like, oh, they didn't have anything in the Constitution about abortion.
Yeah, but you'll always hear, you always hear that stupid argument, right? And like anytime Antifa gets in, like, especially in Portland, right? Anytime Antifa gets into some kind of legal trouble because they're caught rioting or breaking laws, in their direct actions, they always lawyer up, and their lawyers always point to free speech, the First Amendment, to these constitutional values as an argument to get them out of trouble. And it's just like, you guys are pathetic. Like, you're literally pathetic. I would have more respect for you if you actually stood behind your values. And honestly, Chrissy, real quick, this is funny. This is hilarious. I've seen this happen in New York, where like hardcore, like straight up Marxist BLM activists have like rebuked the hell out of like Antifa kids in New York, because whenever the police would be around, all the Antifa white kids, they're like, we got to get out of here. The cops are here. Oh, we have to leave now. We're going to get arrested. We all have to leave. And the Antifa white kids would start leading the Black March. And then like the Black Marxists, the BLM Marxists will come out and be like, I have this all on video too, by the way. It's hilarious. They'll come out and be like, who do you think you are? Who do you think you are to call these shots? What you out here for? You call yourself an anti-fascist and you're afraid to go toe-to-toe with the police? What are you doing out here? It's like,
we're LARPing. Yeah.
They're LARPing.
From Young Pay again, real deal field reporting. I forget what the hell I was doing when I was Drew's age. Ooh, props. Yeah. Somebody else in the chat was wondering, why aren't you a witness in the trial?
Don't know. Don't know. I haven't been subpoenaed or anything. I do know of a couple journalists that will be testifying. I don't think I can say that publicly, but they will be.
It's all right. Nobody watches this podcast. Yeah. Why were you?
Telling you, I gotta be careful. This is gonna get clipped up.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
As long as I look thin, guys, clip away. Were you? If I were you, I would be probably shitting my pants. I mean, you were very close to all of that. Were you nervous at any point? Like, did you feel like you could have caught a stray bullet?
Yeah. I mean, like I said, I was already in that environment in Portland, like multiple days, a lot of violence all around. And by the time I got to Kenosha, I wasn't like mindlessly just showing up to these things. I think you just get kind of, I don't want to use the word desensitized in a way, but I guess because for me personally, I have a very like, and my wife will tell you whenever you're around me, like I have a very like mellow, calm personality. And like, whenever I'm in these environments, I'm the same way, like I don't get out of character. I don't know. I just seem to do well with like chaos.
Yeah. You're good under pressure.
Yeah. And for me, it just kind of worked, but it's not until like I watch the footage after where I'm like, damn, was this like a dream? Like, was I really right there? Was I really like next to this person while they were doing this? And what if that could have happened? And I count the cost with what I do, and not so much now because the riots died out, but it's like I'm not afraid. But I'll tell you the one thing that I do, my biggest concern about covering the riots at the time was if I was ever in a situation where I was found out and Antifa found me and I was forced to defend myself. I wasn't afraid to defend myself. I was afraid of what would happen to me if I did, because you take a look at what happens with people like Kyle and, they have to defend themselves, and immediately the media and law goes right after you and you become the one that's in the wrong. And this could like destroy your life. To be honest, I think that was always like the biggest concern. For
what if you get mixed up in it and you'd be like, I'm a Latinx, it's okay.
Yeah, they don't care. These people, dude, they don't care.
They're crazy. Yeah.
They stabbed Black people in Portland while they're, advocating for Black lives.
Was that David Dorn? Was he in Portland?
No, David Dorn was the police officer. I think it was Minneapolis or Philadelphia.
Okay, yeah,
who was shot by
protecting
looters.
A store. Yeah, that was so sad.
Yeah, and it's people don't realize the hypocrisy in it because they think they're doing the right thing, but they're so indoctrinated with what they've been taught in these universities, and it comes into the real world and it leads to stuff like this. Because conservatives, I don't think they understand. They don't understand, like, how can you justify rioting? How can you justify looting or committing violent acts in the name of like a political ideology, right? But what people don't understand about Antifa and Black Lives Matter, a lot of these kids have been indoctrinated with cultural Marxism, with classical Marxism, which literally teaches to put people over profit or people over property. So these kids believe this stuff. So when they actually think that they're fighting against Nazism, right? Is what you hear them say. We're going after punching Nazi. We're ending white supremacy. They believe it. They believe it. And they actually believe, like, dude, I was in Chicago reporting on a Black Lives Matter protest. It wasn't a riot, it was a protest. And the activist came out and said, this is what she said, representing the Black community, we can't walk the streets of Chicago without being hunted by police. And that was on local news. And I'm sitting there watching that. And it was a high school. They were high school kids at a high school event. And do you know who was protecting the perimeter while they were saying these things? Guess.
Probably white cops.
Yes.
All kinds of cops.
Cops. And it's like, but this is what goes out in the media. And what people need to understand is like, it is literally an ideology that gets twisted.
Fear porn. Yeah.
And it really warps the minds of people.
How dramatic to be like, I'm being hunted. And like anyone who hears that, like, oh my God. I don't know.
Dude, I what's it called in Chicago? I don't know if you've been there.
Deep Dish, Illuminati's.
No, that
just naming places I've been.
The Mile. What is it? The Mile, that like district where there's like those high-end retail. Oh man, somebody in the chat will let us know. I forgot what it's called.
The Millionaire Mile.
I think so. Yeah. Right. So I was walking it, and I'm looking around. And I see a bunch of Black people with like Louis Vuitton bags.
Were they being hunted by police as they shopped in Louis Vuitton?
And Black people eating at high-end restaurants. And there's like cops chilling right there, just like minding their own business. It's just like, I wish people would truly understand that there is a spun media narrative when it comes to this stuff. And it's like, people just don't want to believe it.
Oh, Magnificent Mile. People are saying
Magnificent Mile. There it is. Magnificent Mile. Yeah.
Like, look, if we're going to be hunted by police, at least wait till the dessert is over.
Yeah, dude. Seriously.
That's cray.
But
yeah, and they don't value property. They think, nothing matters. Like, right? Like, items don't matter. It's just it's people. It's just, but it's like you're not being taught values, and it's like it's so twisted. And I also think with a lot of these people you see with like Rosenbaum, right? Like a lot of people who are like going to be attracted to like a riot or a looting or whatever. It's like they're people who inside themselves, like there's chaos and anger and sadness, and they want so badly for the outside to match what they feel on the inside, so they can express it, so they can feel like, it's not just me. Like if someone is crazy or not crazy, like in pain or angry or just like in a destructive mode, they're like, they want to put themselves in that because like attracts like. You want to kind of, law of attraction, whatever.
But you talk about the state of where we are in this country, right? Where the pharmaceutical industry dominates freaking everything. It is not normal. Okay. It is not normal where we have millions of Americans in the United States of America that are so dependent on pharmaceuticals. And I'm not saying that if you genuinely need it, you need it. But we do have people in this country that are losing their minds. They're drug addicts. And you see so much of this when you go to these rallies or these protests where it's just all these kids, you're like, they're saying stuff that doesn't make sense. It just doesn't make sense. You're like, are these kids mentally ill? Like, are they high? What's going on? Because you guys you're not making any sense when you hear them. And then their behavior, I'm going to be honest, man. Some of my buddies that have been in Portland too will tell you that there are mentally ill people out there, violent ones. And you could see it, you could hear it. They claim to have weapons. And, you asked me if I'm ever afraid. And I think the other thing, and I've told my wife this too, is one of the things that I do get concerned about too, is possibly some mentally ill person out there, like you said, that just wants to follow the crowd, is like a lemming, sees other people committing violence, and in their head, they kind of say, oh, well, they're doing it and it's okay, so now I'm going to do it, just completely unhinged. And we've seen those people out there, and it's dangerous.
Was Portland your first time covering a protest?
Protest, no, but riot, yes. Yeah. Yeah, like 2018, 2017, no, 2018, 2019. I was doing like a lot of man on the street. I would go to protests like the Women's March, or I would go to, those kind of protests that were popular and just like debating leftists one-on-one.
Did you have a pussy hat?
Yeah, like I did that once. I don't know if you've seen it, but I did show up to a woman's.
God.
I did show up once. I tried to make it look like it was one, but it was like a pink hat, and I was like debating women about human trafficking and why like that needs to matter. It was crazy. People can go watch it on my YouTube. But anyways,
I'm gonna pull up your YouTube channel. Hold on, just so people can see it.
Yeah,
people need to subscribe to this. If you're not, what are you doing?
Yeah, just go to videos. Yeah, click that one. Lives Matter. That's my old school. Wait, go back. You gotta go to the playlist. Yeah, this is old stuff. Just click on and then go down to Lives Matter with Drew Hernandez, the last one, and then pause that, and then scroll down to the videos. The one I'm talking about, you'll see it. See on the right? The videos on the right? Yeah, yes. You can scroll down. Where is it at? Scroll down. That one, the pink one.
I'm not quite too sure.
Is this you in the skirt?
No, that's not me.
Darn it.
Oh my gosh, that's so toxic masculine. He's doing it better than women.
And like, lo and behold, this is like 2021.
How could he?
You know what I mean? There's a guy on the cover of Sports Illustrated.
I thought this was a women's march.
High school homecoming queen.
Yeah, this is how I
is that with what's his face? James Klug?
Yeah, James is the homie.
Oh yeah, he's done the show. I met him in
Elijah.
Vegas. Yeah.
Elijah's my best friend.
I love Elijah.
But this is like 2017, 2018 content right here.
Hard facts.
Oh yeah. I haven't done one of these in a long time.
Yeah, I was just talking to Owen Schroyer. He told me he got like molested at a women's march. He got his ball grabbed.
The 2019 Women's March in Los Angeles. So a lot of women, they love women's rights, and so do I. But I kind of have a bit of a take. There are
so you sort of
staggering
it down.
And absolute shocking statistics and numbers.
Build the wall. What a confusing sign.
Across the southern border.
You're like, what?
I personally believe that if we built a wall at the southern border, it would save some lives, and it would actually cause some human trafficking enterprises to be put out of business. I decided to go undercover as a male feminist.
As a man.
So don't mind the hat. Don't mind the funky, dumb-looking costume. Still me, but I want people to see.
Are those your real glasses?
These women react to what I'm saying, even though I'm dressed
those are my
like
niece's
them.
glasses.
Let's see if some of these women actually care about women that are being trafficked at the southern border. And not just women, but little girls as well.
God, and this is a huge problem still. It's always been a huge problem. And like,
let's see what happens.
Nobody.
So what are we doing out here today? What do you guys have in your signs?
Women voting. So we are standing for Latinas and women voting. And no
I like
to the
that
wall.
her accent only comes out when she says Latina.
Same, no to the fucking wall and impeaching Trump.
Gotcha.
Same, impeach Trump.
Hello, we are Latina. And
you guys think the border wall is immoral, evil, racist?
Very that, but I think we should waste more money. Well, not waste, but
waste.
Use the money that they want to use for the law for something else. Why can't they help LA for the teachers? So
take us to a spa day.
I feel like that's more important than a wall. Yeah.
Gotcha. Can I share with you why I'm out here marching for women? Do you know how many human beings are human trafficked into the United States annually a year?
Hundreds of thousands.
A lot more than we could probably imagine.
20,000.
That's a lot.
80% are women. Did you know that?
No.
Those are Latinas.
I'm sure they are.
You know 70% of these Latinas are sex trafficked into the United States for the purpose of sexual exploitation, prostitution, sex against their will? Those are Latinas.
Yeah, most.
I'm out here for them.
Me too. Thank you for that.
Did you guys,
as a Latina, I appreciate that.
Did you guys know that there was, as of this month, January 2019, the DOJ literally prosecuted these individuals called the Rendon Reyes crime sex trafficking.
So you're out there throwing down facts, and they're just like, we spent most of our time, honestly, just getting our shirts together and getting these signs and doing our makeup.
And a lot of, if people watch it later, there was a lot of the women that actually changed their minds. They're like, what?
Good for you. The man on the street stuff gives me so much anxiety. I think I'm afraid of conflict. But you have to like it. You have to like it just going, and same thing with James Klug and same thing with Elijah. You all have that in common. Like you're confident, you know your points, you know, it's not like you're trying to do like a gotcha and make them look bad, but it's just, you want to make them think.
Yeah. I haven't done one of those in a while because now I've done the more professional actual reporting, but it just, I loved the man on the street because like, it's like, I would tell Elijah this stuff too, is like, I think we're like exposing a symptom with this content, you know, like, because people that would do like the gotcha stuff or whatever, like it's still the same result. Like you see these people that are just like blank faced, like they cannot correspond with what you're saying, or they refuse the facts or the truth, or that's what makes the content so great. But at the same time, it's like, it's literally a symptom of where the culture is, especially with the radical left, because they've been so desensitized. They're taught the relativism and postmodernism where anything and everything can be true. And so you see this on video, and my heart goes out to some of these people because I'm just like, man, dude, I wish you would just wake up. But at the same time, you're like a psychopath communist that would kill me if you literally could right now, you know, but
yeah, you do feel for these people because, and I think the powers that be know and are totally taking advantage of the fact that people like to form groups. They like to probably do like as little research as possible. It's like, oh, you know, it probably goes back to our like caveman brains. Like you want to look at somebody and be like, are they good? Are they bad? Cool. Now I can proceed and not, you know, waste a lot of time. And I think that's what's happening, obviously in politics and just culturally. Like we're at each other's throats, and it's probably so much easier for anybody at one of these protests to like look at you. You hear the first thing out of your mouth, he's bad, he sucks, he's here to make us look dumb or stupid, so let's ignore him. Oh, you suck, you're racist, right? Like go to the insults. So this is a real skill, this man on the street stuff, because if your goal is to actually engage and change minds and make them think, it's like maybe inside you got to calm that down. Like, you're so wrong, you're brainwashed. Like, you got to just be like, okay, put yourself in their shoes. They think they're doing the right thing. They're out there with the sign. And I have sympathy for these people because I was that girl in college. Absolutely. I would be out there at I was a big feminist. I was a big SJW. So just because that's what all your friends are around you are doing, and that everyone's telling you, oh, this is you're an asshole if you're not this way. You must hate gay people and hate women if you're not this way. So it's tricky.
I agree. And I think I just think what a lot of people don't realize is some of these like agendas, they end badly, right? Whether it's like the jab mandate or whether it's some hardcore LGBTQ like agenda with unisex bathrooms, or, you know, we've seen that in Loudoun County, you know what I mean? Like where this 9th grade girl was raped in a unisex bathroom, and the county did nothing but move the rapist to another school and didn't warn anybody. And the reason why they did that was because they were about to put in this trans policy where they were going to require the teachers to, call the kids by their pronouns that they wanted, and the unisex bathrooms. And the reason why the county or the district covered it up because they were about to put forward that policy, and they didn't want it to look bad because an incident took place that made the policy look bad. So it's like, whichever way you cut it, it's evil. There's a lot of evil that's going on in this country. I mean, I don't know if you saw the story the other day where this school took elementary kids to a freaking gay bar on a field.
Oh, I saw that. That was so nuts.
Why?
The pictures of the kids, they're like, okay. You know that is such a crime, because you know it's like these grandstanding teachers that are virtue signaling, and then they get to post on their social media, oh, look how great I am. I took these kids, my kids. They always say my kids. Ugh. Like they think that they're raising their own kids. It's like, no, you take your cats to the gay bar. Like, this has nothing to do with teaching shapes and colors, which is what you should be focusing on. Like, you can have I don't know, show them a picture of a rainbow. But yeah, it's wild. And I don't know.
And it's like, it's weird. It's weird. Upsetting. It's just weird. I would have an issue if you took elementary kids just to a regular bar. I would have an issue if you took elementary kids to like a strip club, because they're kids, they're children. It's like, are you grooming them? Like, what makes you think that that's somehow a good thing? Oh, because, we want them to be more inclusive. It's like, well, taking them to a gay bar is the answer to you?
Yeah.
Like, what?
You can tell your students, like, some boys like boys, some girls like girls. You can do that without taking them into a gay bar. I just think back to, like, I was kind of a little shit growing up, and I could definitely see myself, like, you're a kid, right? You have no power, even throughout college. Like, you don't have a ton of power. You're kind of at the mercy of, like, your teachers liking you and doing well in school. Like, let's say you're like a power hungry kid, right? You don't have enough discipline in your life. Your parents are not giving you enough love and attention. How tempting and easy and attractive does the option of, like, fucking with your pronouns so you can stick it to your teacher for not calling you the right pronouns? Well, now you have power over this teacher, and you can totally distract from the fact that, like, your grades suck or you're disruptive in class or whatever. It's like you're giving kids, like, a real trump card that they can use kind of at any point, because you can change your pronouns, like, willy-nilly whenever you want, and it's something that you can use to have power over an adult, and it's just creating such chaos.
You're right, because we are rebellious by nature, right? Even as a young kid, you take a look at a 2-year-old, a 3-year-old, a 5-year-old. It's just like rebellion defines you at a young age, right? So it's like, you take a look at the LGBTQ community, and right now it's even more on steroids, because you give kids this pass to just rebel against whatever is, traditional or whatever is considered good in society. And they're going to use that and take that to their advantage. It's more of a trend where you see all these kids that want to identify as trans or homosexual or gay or lesbian, like these little elementary school kids or junior high kids. And you go and you ask them, well, what does that even mean? I don't know. It just makes me popular. There's so many kids that see this stuff and they just see it as an excuse to rebel, and it kind of makes them famous. It makes them popular. Like, you're like the popular kid now if you're the gay or the trans kid in high school. And to go to my point where it like kind of gives them an excuse to rebel and like get crazy. I don't know if you saw the Twix commercial, the Twix Halloween commercial, where
this recently?
It was like it was a witch that showed up to take care of this. I think it was like a trans kid that was like a little boy wanting to be a girl. And then in the commercial, there's like this kid that comes in and is like, wait, why are you dressed like that? Because he was dressed as a princess. Why are you dressed like that? Only boys dress like boys, and only girls dress like princesses. And then like the witch actually like kills the kid.
What? I have to show this.
Yeah, dude.
This sounds like
my Twitter.
A little bit too much for Twix here.
But it's like,
let me send it to you.
A little kid sees that and is like, oh yeah, like I'm the dominant one here.
Oh no, wait, that's my thing. Never mind.
It's on my Twitter.
Okay.
Yeah, it's. I think I did. I retweeted. You just got to scroll down a little bit. And
where did you send it?
Twitter.
Okay. I have a producer apparently.
It's just like emboldening children. Like,
oh, here it is. All right, let me pull this up. God damn it! And I really liked Twix. That's kind of upsetting.
Yeah, me
and you
too.
know what? It's like maybe there was a long time ago, where there was like gay kids felt pressure to be straight, pressure to like blend in. But guess what? Nobody cares anymore. Be gay, do whatever you want. And now it's like the reverse is happening. Kids that might be confused or a little bit susceptible to peer pressure. Oh, like all my problems will be solved if I like become gay or trans, which is like.
So this takes it to a whole other level.
Yes.
Watch.
Hi. I'm your new nanny.
I don't need a nanny.
Don't talk to strangers, buddy.
Well, your parents seem to think you do.
What's your favorite color?
Black.
Okay, so this is a boy in a dress coloring
Charcoal?
with this like witch babysitter type. Okay, these girls are rolling up with teddy bears.
It's not Halloween yet.
So he's getting made fun of, misunderstood.
Can I help you?
Are you a good witch or a bad witch?
Do you want to find out?
This is a Twix commercial.
So we have not seen one Twix yet. And this commercial has been going 1:10.
Okay, check this out. This is a crazy part.
Hey, you, princess. You look like a girl. Why are you wearing that?
Dressing like this makes me feel good.
Is that your nanny? She looks weird. You look weird. Your nanny looks weird. You guys are both weird.
No, we're just different.
Boys don't wear dresses.
Kids don't really, I don't know. I don't think anybody would. I think a kid would be like, oh yeah, cool, do whatever you want.
What's happening?
So she sent the kid flying.
We should go.
Wow, you know what? Or you could teach the kid to stand up for himself.
Probably.
Yeah, they're either implying that she, killed the kid or physically assaulted the kid. So it's like either way, they're like implying that it's okay to
bully people who don't understand
who
you.
don't understand or disagree. You could commit violence against anyone that misgenders you or disagrees with your lifestyle.
Honestly, I think like I'm around kids here and there. I think kids would be like, oh, cool. They would see her in a dress. And then if they were like not about it, they'd move on. But they wouldn't be like, that's for girls. It's like obvious. Like, I don't know. You could be playing dress up with your sister. Like, I just, ugh.
Yeah, it's propaganda. I mean, it has nothing to do with candy bars. It's like, why does a commercial for candy bars have to communicate something as dark? That's pretty damn dark, bro. Like, it's a dark freaking commercial. Like, it really is, because it's
I'm gonna have to
communicating.
switch over to Crunch now at this point. I mean, if they come from my Butterfinger, I'm gonna be upset.
Dude, there's even another crazy one. I don't know if you saw. I think it was like there's like this. Did you even know there's a new Chucky? Like,
you mean Jen Psaki?
Like no, it's like a Chucky, like a new TV show, and
I think
the kid is like gay.
Okay.
The kid's gay. I think there's a clip on YouTube where the kid's gay and like Chucky killed someone, and the gay kid's like, "How could you do that?" And like Chucky's like, "Well, I've had a gay son once, or I've had a trans son once," and the gay kid's like. He's like, how? No. Chucky said, or the gay kid says, Chucky, how could you? How could you do that? And he's like, well, I've had a trans kid once. He's like, I'm not a monster. I'm not a monster. Like implying those that reject trans kids or gay kids are monsters.
God.
Yeah, this is the clip. It's just so creepy. Like, I don't understand how people don't see this as propaganda.
It's very forced. It's like, these are not conversations that would come up.
Chucky. It's a murderous communicate to children. That like you're just this monstrous villain that's worse than a murderous demon possessed puppet if you reject gender fluidity or homosexuals.
Now it's like, don't be afraid that Chucky's gonna stab you in your sleep, but he will like wake you up and start virtue signaling. Yeah, that's a whole lot less scary. Exactly. Snooze. What a snooze.
I know, right? And it's like Chucky, they take everything, and this is what I've been telling people is like. Because we've seen like, Superman's son is like bisexual now, and they're just like everything's getting homosexualized in Hollywood to comic books, Marvel, DC, nothing is watchable anymore. And it's like, I've had these conversations with people and I'm like, why does the LGBTQ community claim to be this proud, strong, innovative, independent community, but they have to hijack everything that's traditional and like homosexualize it or lesbianize it or transgenderize something that's already been established and original? Because if you guys are so great and you guys are so original, why can't you just come up with your own great content on yourself? Why can't you just create the next biggest superhero that the world wants to see that's gay, bisexual, or trans? Why do you have to take Superman and do it, or take another superhero and do it? Why? Because nobody would like it.
I would love an original, like the Scissor Sisters. Whoa, fighting crime and going down on each other. I don't know. That sounds fun. And I also feel bad because I think it's like when we say like the LGBT movement, whatever, it's like, of course we don't mean individuals. We mean like the powers that be, the people that are like working to co-opt the whole group. And because, when I meet like, talk to my actual like gay and lesbian friends and even you talk to like Buck Angel or Blair White, like there's so many examples of people who actually are trans that are like it's really frustrating because they make us look bad because they're trying to make it about something else.
And I think that going back to the like taking elementary kids to gay bars and this whole agenda that's like unfolding on children is I think it is sad that you do probably have some LGBTQ community members that don't say anything. But even if they do, they get obliterated, censored, canceled by the woke mob in Hollywood or the music industry, social media, obviously. I think that's probably the biggest problem for that community as well, because not only do you not speak out against the perversions that come down the pipe, no pun intended, but you silence anyone that does. And that doesn't make you guys look good at all. I don't care what your view is on lesbianism, homosexuality, trans, whatever your religious view is, but anyone that silences or defends something that's perverted isn't going to be received well.
Yeah.
I'll just tell you that right now, regardless, even on the other side, right? Even if you're heterosexual and you're a pedophile and you're trying to cover up pedophilia, you see what I'm saying? Like, it just doesn't look good. It doesn't make people feel right.
Yeah.
There has to be morality somewhere.
People can tell when you're like watching something, you're like, this doesn't seem real. Like, this is like, again, this is an ad about Twix and we haven't seen a Twix bar in over a minute. Then like, oh, maybe it's propaganda, maybe it's about something else. I wanted to talk about this. I always like seeing like which celebrities come out either kind of for or against cancel culture. Seems like more and more of them are kind of for it or definitely not against it. So this is shock SNL legend Dan Aykroyd cheers on cancel culture. This is from Christian Toto from Hollywood in Toto. Quick, name your favorite Dan Aykroyd moment. It might be his impression of Julia Child bleeding profusely all over her faux cooking set. What about his sleazy salesman hawking children's costumes, brimming with glass shards? And then here's a clip where basically he was on SNL, like trying to sell like kids' toys. Oh, it's just a bag of glass. And it's, by 2021 standards, not woke, all the things, right, that wouldn't be allowed now. Or perhaps it's his recurring gig is Elwood Blues, half of the iconic Blues Brothers, alongside the late John Belushi's. Some of these comic morsels would no longer be permitted in our woke age. Certainly a Blues Brothers pitch today would be derailed as cultural appropriation, given how the blues are considered part of Black cultural experience. It turns out that the SNL alum would happily cancel himself. Akroyd, 69, not 69, I mean, that's his age, just gave a dispiriting interview to the far left Hollywood Reporter, of course, because Ghostbusters Afterlife is coming out. And let's see what he said. Okay, there's enough range in humor. This is about cancel culture. Whoops. There's enough range in humor where you don't have to go scatological. Is that a word? I guess so. And you don't have to go pulling any divisive cards to get a laugh. There is so much in the world to comment on that is outside the realm of offensiveness. As a writer, you can go to other areas and have successful creative endeavors. Scatological, am I saying that? I've never seen this word in my whole life. Scatological humor is fun. It's easy laughs, but there is more intelligent writing that can happen if you stay away from the offensive material that should be rightly canceled for its hurtfulness. Who can be the subject of an impression today? That's an area of discussion. Can I do my James Brown imitation? He was one of my best friends. I do his voice pretty good, but maybe I shouldn't anymore. This makes me lose all respect for Dan Aykroyd.
Yeah.
And it's always these people that are older and have made it and have made their money, their millions, whatever. Like, they're good. Like, I don't want to hear anybody's opinion on cancel culture who's made it, who's a household name. It's like, this is not about you. It's like, it's about the people that are trying to like make their way, make a dent in comedy, make a career, make a life for themselves. And it's almost like, I can't believe a person who's done comedy even said this, like, well, you got to find the realm outside of offensiveness. Well, this is exactly the problem, because what's been considered offensive is now exploding like this huge amoeba, and you could make a case for literally anything being offensive.
You know why this is so stupid to me? Like, listen, and I wanted to get your opinion on this. It's like, comedy in and of itself is going to be offensive. Like, if you're telling jokes either about an individual or a group of people, you're like, the word joke, right? Like, the word joke within itself, it's going to lead to an offense somewhere, to something, to someone, because you're making a joke out of something, somewhere, or someone. That's why I don't understand these stupid woke comedians that say stuff like this, because it's like, how does that even make sense? Like, even if you make fun of anything, it's going to lead to an offense somewhere. So how does comedy even exist with this woke mentality? When you have people like Dan Aykroyd trying to, it sounds like these like OG, if we can call them that, I don't know what you guys in your community world would comedy would call them, but like these dudes that have been around for decades, it's like, they're like the gatekeepers, and they're trying to like redefine what can be acceptable in comedy moving forward, because it's like you have these different generations, right? Like you have generations, all the SNL, the Adam Sandlers, the Dave Chappelles that came and that have already kind of like hardcore established. And then you have people that are on their way trying to build up the ladder, the next generation of comedians. Those are the comedians that are going to get destroyed right now, I personally believe. And now they're trying to get to the next generation of comedy, right? Where they're actually listening to this garbage. Oh, you can't be offensive. So it's like, you're just not going to be funny. So all these the next generation of comedians are just going to be a bunch of woke, mindless, boring people that are probably just going to be bought and paid for, that aren't even funny. It's kind of like, what's that one, that comedian? She's on YouTube. She tried to be the first female lesbian late night. What's her name? Lily Singh.
Oh God.
Right?
Yeah, she's a huge YouTuber. They plucked her out to host a late night show. It bombed.
I think she's like the perfect example of what I'm trying to describe.
Yeah, she was this huge success on YouTube, but it just like, she should have stayed on YouTube. Like that, young people are not, her audience is not, clearly didn't follow her to late night television, and it was bad. You know what it is with these old guys? This is exactly what we saw John Leguizamo do. It's somebody with a past with maybe they do have some movies or some sketches where they're like doing some racist humor or doing some like not politically correct stuff. It's like they don't want you reaching too far back into their stuff to cancel them. It's like a preemptive cancel buffer. At the same time, like they're old, they're crusty, they haven't come of age, or their careers haven't come of age in this era of like, you can make your own way, like I was never really accepted by the left, and I just sort of followed my heart, whatever, and now I'm part of, I guess, what people would consider like the new right or the alt right or whatever the fuck it is. Like, I think the older you get, these old guys, they just don't know a way other than just being in it, like sucking Hollywood's dick basically. And they go, oh, okay, the way to stay successful is to be saying these things and doing these things. So it's like, maybe it's out of fear, right? Trying to stay relevant. Oh, this is what we're doing now, I guess I got to do this to like stay fresh and to stay hireable. And they also just don't know. And like Jim Brewer is like, maybe he's like right on the edge of that. Like maybe he had a little bit of mainstream success, but still has that fire, that spark in him that he never lost. Like, no, I'm going to do and say what I think is really funny. And he's, of course, one of the few comics, myself included, that's not going to perform anywhere that requires, proof of jab papers and such. And right, these old guys don't realize like you can break away from Hollywood and find your own fan base and do what you love, and you don't have to be like a slave to them. I just don't believe it. This is how they actually feel.
You know who pisses me off the most, since we're talking about like comedians, like George Lopez pisses me off. Okay. And the reason why that dude is just like a total idiot is because he got so woke and went after Trump and everything is racist in the United States of America and got on the whole white supremacy is everything train. George Lopez's career is built like some of the most successful like bits that he has that have gone super viral. I mean, I remember even the early days of YouTube and like MySpace, for all my old school people out there, like MySpace and all that stuff, was like he would do bits on stereotypes. He would rip on Mexicans and Hispanics and Asians and white people. And it was like the funniest. I thought it was funny at the time. And it's like, but I think it's so ridiculous that you have some of these comedians that have built their empires on jokes that are like pointing out stereotypes, borderline like racist type humor. But now all of a sudden, like you said, they're like putting up this buffer where, oh no, they're like these woke individuals, but they want to keep their entire empire.
Right.
It's just like
they want to have it both ways.
Yeah.
They want to like, they can't like denounce their former selves, but they want to like stay hireable, stay in Hollywood's good graces. I think kind of that's what happened to Amy Schumer. I don't know. You just, or maybe your lifestyle gets to a point where you like you're not struggling anymore. You're not kind of like, I always say, like down here with the people, like living a real life, and you become kind of out of touch. And I think like some people would argue that's kind of where Chappelle is, but I mean, he's also doing so well. Like he doesn't, who cares? Like he's uncancelable. He's good. Even if he were to never perform ever again, like he's good. He has his bag, as they say. So
yeah, he's, I just think, and we see this across the board. You see it in Disney, you see it in music, you see it in education, you see it in politics, you see it in news and media. It's just like this cultural Marxism has invaded everything and it's destroying everything. And I think the next generation of art is doomed if a lot of people don't continue to push back on this stuff. Because I mean, how is comedy offensive? I can't understand that. I can't understand how a comedian in 2021 is coming out and saying that there is comedy that's offensive. It's all offensive.
It's hypocritical because like it's just it's like, right, like BLM is like the new racism or whatever, or you know, you could argue because there's no such thing as non-offensive comedy. It's just that it's flipped. Like, who is it okay to make fun of now? Who do we consider it not offensive? It's okay to make fun of white people. It's okay to make fun of Trump supporters. It's okay to make fun of patriots. It's okay to make fun of anybody in middle America. It's okay to make fun of anybody like from the South, anybody who's religious. So, and those people, you know what I mean? Like it's any like woke comic in LA or New York City is like, that's probably their entire set, or like all those topics I just named. And probably some like lame jokes about like wearing masks and stuff. But it's not that, it's just like we can't make fun of trans people or gays or like the protected group. So it's open season on anybody white, religious, you know, with a mom and a dad, you know, regular boring upbringing. So it's very hypocritical, and there's no way to do it. And I think once your politics or your I don't know, your message or your thing comes before what is funny, it's like you've been compromised as a comedian. Like if you're making money is more important than you being funny, then you're compromised, you know? So I don't know, I have to remember that, like, because sometimes, you know, I didn't always care about politics. I only started caring when I saw how it affected free speech and in terms of comedy. And I was like, oh, this to me is really worth fighting for and sticking my neck out for. But I do have to remember, like, some days I look at my Twitter feed and it's like, all right, I'm retweeting a lot of Elijah and Jack Posobiec, like, better throw out some jokes, you know, like just.
Yeah. No, I mean, it's the thing is this is my own personal opinion. I'm not a comedian. I don't think I have the authority to speak on anything like this. This is just me as a consumer. I think that the funniest, best comedy is stuff that is true. Like for me, like whenever I would watch specials, whenever a comedian could get me to say that is so true, like that's where I'm just kind of like, all right, this person knows what they're doing, because they correspond reality, because reality is funny. Like, in my opinion, reality is funny. Like, I think when comedians are just straight up telling you, like, you know, jokes about this is how Hispanics live. And I'm sitting there as a Hispanic kid, like, damn, like, yeah, that's how we grew up. And it's like funny, like you could do it across the board. And I think truth has been so attacked, obviously in education and in politics and in the media, now in comedy, that you're not even allowed to tell the truth in comedy, which I think is seriously destroying comedy big time. This is my own opinion. I don't know, but yeah.
Of course. And there was something, I think James Lindsay, well, a lot of folks were retweeting it. It was something like laughter is a tool of the far right or something like that. And I'm like doing a quick Twitter search for it. And of course, what comes up first is like, humor is a tool of the right to promote their fascist ideology.
My gosh.
Far too many on the left are too okay with laughter. Many
Absurd.
more are flat out crypto fascist with their jokes. You're either miserable or you're Nazi adjacent. It's like, are you kidding me? But if you were to tell this Gwen chick a great joke about like straight white men, she'd be like, ah, great. So it's like, You're such a hypocrite. And you know what laughter is? It's like, I forget whatever was trending this week, like laughter is a tool of the right or something. Like all laughter is the acknowledgement of truth, because you can't, when we've all had that laugh, like you laugh when you don't expect to. That's all it is. It's like acknowledging a shared reality. And that's exactly what like the leftist nutbags don't want. They want many separate realities. But when you can all laugh at when a room full of people can laugh at the same stuff, like not only is it great, it's good for your health. You forget about your own problems and you let off steam, but it makes everybody realize like, oh yeah, we're more alike than we are not alike. I don't know. I'm tired, but it's a unifier. Like comedy is a unifier. So, it's good to see people starting to see through it. It's like, oh, really? Jokes? We're coming after jokes now.
It's just so weird. Like, how can you say that laughter is the tool of the alt-right to push their fascist? So like, how does that fit in with the history of like SNL and Comedy Central? And how does that fit in with, what was the comedian's name that would pose? He would do his impersonations with presidents. Like he would literally impersonate Obama at the White House Correspondents' dinner. I think he did the same thing.
Daryl Hammond?
I don't remember, but you could YouTube it. Like, how does what they are saying now fit in with that? I don't get it. Like,
yeah, they have short memories, and it's just all about what applies to them. Like what,
I don't get it. It's
crazy.
Stupid. It's literally stupidity. And I think we're in a bad place, Chrissy. We're in a bad place where you're not allowed to be funny anymore.
Was it Fred Armisen?
It might have been. I could just Google it, but I mean, YouTube, it'll pop up. Ugh. That might be him, I think.
I hate to always shit on SNL. I watched it when Kim Kardashian was hosting it. And then now, of course, her and Pete Davidson were seen canoodling at a pumpkin farm or something.
And Disneyland. I think it was Disneyland, was it? Or
something.
Some amusement
They were on
park.
a ride holding hands.
Yeah.
I just don't, even if his penis is magical, it's still attached to him. So I don't know.
I just think Pete Davidson is good at acting really stupid, and that might be funny to people. I think Jimmy Fallon does the same thing. I don't think Jimmy Fallon's funny at all. I think he's very dumb, and it bothers me. But like, I'm going to be honest. One of my favorite comedians I like Conan O'Brien a lot. And I think that, a lot of what he's done is pretty original and funny. And I just even feel like there's a lot of stuff that Conan does now that I'm surprised wasn't canceled, because he makes a lot of like you could call it sexist, right? Like he makes
he's smart about his stuff. Like he's goofy. And like, I agree with you, of all the sort of like well-known late night folks, like Conan is probably the one I'm the most partial to. And not because I got his coffees every twice a week for a whole semester. I interned for him. Yeah.
Sweet.
That's my claim to fame now. But yeah, I think he is able to. I think of all the people, like, and you haven't seen anyone really coming out for him too hard. I think he's just goofy, and maybe he's not as big. Maybe they consider him a little bit more niche just because he never hosted but he did host late night, just not like one of the top late night shows. And he was a writer on The Simpsons. Like, I think he just is funny in his bones, and I think maybe he's surrounded himself with people with the same values. And I just feel like, like Fallon, all those guys are so compromised. Colbert, it's like,
what's the dude in LA? Dude, the freaking most woke
Trevor
one of them
Noah?
all. Jimmy Kimmel. Kimmel.
Oh, Kimmel. Yeah.
I can't stand Kimmel, dude. Like, another example, dude, he was like a host on the Man Show, right? Comedy Central. It's like, and now all of a sudden he's crying on TV because of leftist propaganda, and he's like the woke magician for leftist comedy. It's weird to see these people, like, they're like these orators, like all of a sudden, like these late night talk show hosts that were former comics that built massive careers on American culture, like anti-American woke leftist Marxist propaganda pushers. It's just weird to me. It's weird to me growing up in this generation where you saw these guys for who they were, and like now where they are, it's like, what happened to you?
Yeah, I think you get into comedy to be heard. and to feel acknowledged, to feel validated. And then with these guys, like they're offered these big jobs and they're like, oh, I have my voice is even bigger now. And along the way, they just get like compromised, like that power and influence to them is more important than humor, than being funny, than telling the truth. And you throw in a lot of money and, these compromises are easier to make, I guess, because you're like, oh, well, I have this life to support. I don't know. I don't respect it. I don't appreciate it.
Me neither.
I forgot to do my ad for Cushy Dreams. I don't know, Drew, if you struggle with anxiety in any form, but Cushy Dreams is great for that. And you know that you can join the men and women who want to smoke their CBD. Let me pull up the website. Guys, Cushy Dreams. They have different indica sativa blends like relax, dream, create, hustle, peace. So if you want to be a little bit more up in the day, you're going to be a little more relaxed right before bed, Cushy Dreams has your back. I love these 5-packs. I love the pre-rolls. They come in pre-rolls and they come in these like the bud and tins. So go to Cushy Dreams. That's Cushy with a K. Dreams.com, and at checkout, use promo code CMP to get 20% off. You can get all the health benefits of CBD without getting high. No late night munchies, just nice relaxy vibes. Cushy Dreams. That was really smooth. I did that really organically. Drew, where can people follow you? What is coming up in your life? Yes.
Yeah, well, you guys I host my own show on YouTube, Drew Hernandez Live. You guys can follow me on YouTube. Just, well, theoretically, they shadow ban the crap out of me, but you could search Drew Hernandez Live on YouTube and I'll pop up, sub on the channel. But if you guys would like to follow, I do a lot of on the ground reporting. That's on my Twitter, Drew H Live, or Getter, Gab as well. I am a daily commentator on a TV network called Real America's Voice. So I am daily in the news cycle. You guys can watch me daily on there. I'm on at least 3 of their shows a day. They can download the app on iOS and Android as well, or just watch it on the website, americasvoice.news. So that's kind of where I'm at right now. And obviously, the majority of my reporting right now is I'm really on top of these vax mandates in the airlines, with medical healthcare professionals, first responders and teachers, New York, LA, coast to coast. So that's kind of where the majority of my reporting has been. I've done the southern border, obviously the protest stuff, but that's kind of where I'm at right now.
That's great. Yeah, I'm hearing of a lot of cops, firefighters, and it's all coming down. I think the next couple of weeks are when are like the due dates for a lot of these people to get jabbed or get tossed out. So I'll definitely be following all your stuff pretty closely because this is it's coming down to it. We just gotta hang in there. We gotta hang in there, guys.
We got to.
Thank you guys so much in the chat for your questions and comments and your super chats. We appreciate you so much. Yeah, follow Drew Hernandez on his YouTube channel. And yeah, check him out on Real America's Voice. I saw them. I went to this medical freedom convention in Nashville, and I saw like Real America's Voice they had like a big setup there.
Nice.
And I got the guys coffee because they helped me set up my microphone. All right. Irrelevant. Thanks, guys. Until next time. Bye.